he was also filming. Was it No Holds Barred?
No Holds Barred. Who's the guy? Who's the guy right now that is as good and has the similar, similar flair, the similar flair to Macho Man?
Easy.
Okie dokie.
Pickety pokey.
Oakley dokley. Quite. What's the next match? Hello, and a very warm welcome back to the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to look at Summerslam from 1988.
Beautiful. We do. I'd have been 2. How old were you?
2. I'm the same age as you, so that makes me the same age
2.
as you.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden, 1988, August the 29th. If you're enjoying the podcast, please go and like our Facebook and our Twitter. Quite active on there.
Do it.
And we've got a lot of people. And check out our Patreon as well. We've got a couple of bonuses. And
we always need more.
Always need more. Always need more.
All
Share
of you are welcome here. Come on.
Yeah.
Bring it in. Just bring it.
Is that a wrestling reference?
The Rock would say that.
Gimme a whole year.
That's creepy.
So August
packed
29th.
Full of stupid, cheesy references.
August 29th, Madison Square Garden. Commentators Gorilla Monsoon and superstar Billy Graham.
Interesting.
He was all right. He sounded a bit more like Dusty Rhodes than Jesse, but I enjoyed it.
Gorilla's always on form.
Yeah, Gorilla's on form.
This was one of my favourite pay-per-views we've done.
Was it? I thought there was some good moments in it. I'd say. I think there was some lackluster moments, but we'll go through it as we get to it.
Yep.
On tonight's card, we had Hulk Hogan, the Mega Powers. We had British Bulldog,
Macho Man,
and a great match from Ultimate Warrior. So that's what you've got to look forward to.
And Jake the Snake, actually.
The Snake.
I like that match.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. It's exciting.
Let's do it.
So the British Bulldogs versus the fabulous Rougeaus.
Jacques. Oh man, that's terrible. Jack and Raymond. Jack and Raymond. Decent enough match. Time limit draw though as a finish. What a ridiculous.
Yeah,
end.
well, when they entered the ring, it was announced as relocating to the United States, which I thought was an interesting anti-American heel gimmick. So they carried mini American flags, which got the crowd riled up. Davey Boy Smith starts in the ring. There was a few too many rest holds. There was a lot of rest holds actually in the entirety of SummerSlam 1988, and I think that was a lot of the problem with the pay-per-view for me.
Yeah. Like I say, overused and overdone at this period.
Yeah, well, apparently they'd been wrestling for like a couple of nights on the trot in house shows. So nowadays, when you get SummerSlam, and they sort of get a week off basically to refresh, spend a bit of time with the family and stuff like that. These guys didn't. They'd driven from the last house show, wherever that was, and I think they had a couple of different house shows going at the same time. So we had cheating from the Rougeaus to eventually get back in the match. Dynamite Kid got a great reception here. Yeah, really good reception. When Davey Boy got the hot tag.
Good performance as well.
The ring action, it sped up as soon as Dynamite went in the ring. It was nice. A really great power slam from Davey Boy, much like Braun Strowman's, I thought.
Yeah, Davey Boy Smith originated that power slam. That was Davey Boy Smith's power slam, and that's still that is the Bulldog power slam.
It was great, and it looked powerful. I think going into modern wrestling a little bit, Braun Strowman's power slam has come on really well. He was struggling, I think, at first to find a solo finisher. Yeah. He did the front face choke slam a bit, didn't he, on the jobbers and stuff? And then I thought, I don't think that would have worked.
That was really silly, wasn't it? It just
it looks a bit weak. But then, can you imagine him doing that to Brock Lesnar? That would have been awful.
Yeah, it would look dumb as hell.
Dumb as hell. The Rougeaus did well to keep the pace. Even the stretch holds looked strong, which I'll always give credit. Working holds are fine as long as it looks powerful. Yeah. It kept swapping out with one each other when the ref was distracted. Obviously, they look very similar. Good build-up in the match, and it certainly sped up towards the end, which made the ending even more disappointing, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that end was, again, overly commonly used during this period of time, and it served to build a lot of tension between the two. Obviously, having that kind of time limit draw finish. But like I say, I thought the Bulldogs performed. I thought they performed well.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Not
face.
the best we've seen, but it was good. It was a good opener, I'd say, definitely.
Yeah,
the one thing I didn't like about it wasn't the finish, because obviously it was a timeout. Bulldogs would do a move where the British Bulldog would lift Davy Boy Smith and he'd do the headbutt. My problem with that is knowing what happened to Davy Boy Smith with all the concussions and the loss of feeling to his leg and stuff like that, paralysis, wasn't it, in one of his legs, is awful to watch. And I think we're going to struggle watching parts of the late post-Attitude era, I suppose, with Benoit. It's that same sort of thing.
And
where
Bulldog, Bulldog we came back for the Attitude Era briefly, and you can see visibly struggling. With years of wear and tear.
Yeah, it was just that one move really went. Watching this back with hindsight, you can sort of feel stuff like that. It's totally quite interesting. So the ref was distracted by one of the Rougeaus brothers after they got the finisher, so it ended up in a time limit draw. Really good match, good build-up, crappy ending, but a good opener for SummerSlam, I thought. Very good opener. Anything else to say on that match?
I'm happy with that. I think as well, just a fact check, Dynamite Kid uses the headbutt. And doesn't Dynamite Kid use the headbutt?
Did I say David Boy?
I think you said David Boy.
No, I didn't mean Dynamite Kid.
On a fact check thing. But
yeah, cool. Yeah. So, Brutus the Barber Beefcake can't wrestle due to an attack from Ron Bass in the video package. Ron Bass, dangerous Ron Bass. Strangled with a whip. He used to carry his whip to ring, and he wrapped it round him and was strangling him. Then he bladed Brutus, and you could actually see the blade, and you had a big, massive red cross across the screen saying censored, so it looked more violent than it probably was. Meaning that he couldn't wrestle for the Intercontinental title because him and Honky had been in a long-time feud at the time. So next match was Bad News Brown versus Ken Patera.
Ken Patera with his with that blooming full Nelson.
Yeah, and the Kurt Angle gimmick. Well, I'll go into that in a second. Well,
I talked about Bad News Brown last time. He's one of my favourite heels of this era, and also, I even though it's a simple insecurity, I love the Ghetto Blaster, the finisher.
The Ghetto Blaster.
It's brilliant.
Oh, really? I don't know. I didn't rate it, and certainly in this match.
I love the way. I love it. I love the way it's done. It's the best insecurity I've seen.
Ken Patera was like the original Kurt Angle, but he looked more like Leo Sayer. It was like Leo Sayer going to a fancy dress party as Kurt Angle. It was a weird look, man. And he certainly didn't have the talent that Kurt Angle had as well. No. Not as much charisma either.
No. But it was a simple match. Nice,
Well, they both looked really tired from the start of the match, and this is again probably due to them having a couple of matches a few nights before, which is a really bad way to enter a ring. Tired, it doesn't look good. There was a really weak-looking bear hug in it. I hate the bear hug when it's sold weak. And
man. If
you need to throw someone around if you're going to do it. Bad News Brown finished him with his Ghetto Blaster. I didn't like it. You liked it?
You have no taste in finishes. So let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay. I thought that was a weak match. Did you?
In general. Yeah, you're right. They look tired.
An interview with the Mega Powers. They say that the secret weapon was Elizabeth. That had come to play a little bit later on in the match.
Yes, indeed it would.
We got very excited during that match, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Because of what great action.
What great action in the ring. Ravishing Rick Rude with Bobby the Brain Heenan versus Junkyard Dog.
JYD. Yeah, love.
Cut the music.
Love JYD. But,
all you sweat hogs, show the ladies what a really sexy man looks like. I love his entrance, man. And he had Junkyard Dog on his tights this time, so we're starting to see him where he's incorporating his tights more into his gimmick.
Yeah.
With Junkyard Dog on his tights, it looked like pubic hair.
Yes,
because Junkyard Dog had a beard and it just looked like a patch of pubic hair in a ripped open.
Indeed,
Rick Rude's
indeed. But anyway, the tights actually come into play at the
they did in the match.
Part of this match, decent enough. Junkyard Dog actually it looks really strong in this. Lots of headbutts, which everybody likes. Typical face and heel dynamic. In favour of Junkyard Dog for most of the match, you'd think that. Rick Rude would have more of a fair share of the action, but I was.
Yeah, I think
I'm pleased. They gave.
They sold Junkyard Dog.
Yeah, they saw Junkyard Dog. The ending was particularly good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the ending. Well, prior to the match, he'd been feuding with Jake because he used to get a woman to kiss him after a match, and he called up Cheryl, which was one of Jake's wives. Jake's wife
at the time. Yes.
So then, after she refused to kiss him, he started to wear her face on his crotch, and that's why Jake could come out and
incite the snake. I mean,
unleash the python.
To incite Jake's anger is what we're trying to say. Yes.
Yeah. So
there was no snakes unleashed. Well, there was an actual snake, not a metaphorical snake.
There was actually one match where he before this match, I believe, where he actually gets in the ring and rips off Rick Rude's tights.
Indeed,
and Rick Rude's buttocks were showing.
Indeed, his buttocks.
Yeah.
And in the end of this match, because Rick Rude he basically reveals during the match he's got another pair of tights on underneath.
He did.
The JYD pube tights. And those tights are of Cheryl Roberts. Jake
straight
Roberts'
away
his wife.
Yeah.
And Cheryl Roberts sees this in the back and she's freaking out, obviously, as you would, because that ain't your man, that ain't her man. And she comes out and kicks his ass.
Well, Jake comes out and kicks his ass, straight away. The whole idea of this was all Pat Patterson's idea, actually. I quite like the storyline. I think it's interesting. I think it's using Rude's gimmick in the right way.
Yeah.
And I think that Jake did well, and Jake and Cheryl did well to go with it.
Comes out and kicks it. Yeah, Jake comes out and destroys Rick Rude, which unfortunately, of course, will lead to the disqualification decision in favour of Rick Rude.
Poor Junkyard Dog. I've got some sad news for you.
Go then.
Junkyard Dog. This is the last pay-per-view he was in WWF. He is no more. Would you like to give a headbutt for?
I would. I'm gonna lightly headbutt the mic.
Oh.
I was gonna bark too.
Go on, bark if you want.
Oh. I think that was a joke. Yeah. I think that's kind of probably doesn't do him much justice, but respectfully, Junkyard Dog, one of my absolute favourites. One of my absolute favourites in terms of his personality and his headbutts.
It was a good gimmick, especially in the early 80s. Might have ended up causing too much of a cartoony gimmick in the early 90s, but it was working well.
It would have worked
if
Santino Marella worked. Then they would have, Junkyard Dog could have worked.
Mm-hmm. So next up we have the Honky Tonk Man in an interview saying he's confident and not worried about the open challenge, which is fairly important when we get to the Honky Tonks Man.
Indeed, it is.
The next match was the Powers of Pain with Baron Bolshevik. With the Bolsheviks. I don't know why I put the Baron Bolsheviks. With the Bolsheviks, with Slick.
The Bolsheviks of Baron.
Yeah. Slick was such a weird manager for the Bolsheviks. It didn't work with the foreign heel gimmick.
It feels like they kind of just goes like, right, okay, what are we going to do? Who are we going to put with...
Who's the bad guy? Put him in it. Weird.
And it was a weird match too. I wasn't really sold on it. Probably my least favourite of the night. Lots of heavy duty work in the ring.
Well, this is the first time that we're covering the Powers of Pain, so normally on the podcast we like to go through a little bit of the history of the wrestlers that we're covering as new wrestlers. If you want to watch any of the previous ones, go back and watch the episodes.
Please.
Barbarian. In Jim Crockett's promotions, Barbarian had debuted as 1/3 of the Road Warriors, and you can certainly see that in his face paint on the SummerSlam show. And when they were first introduced to the WWF, they instantly began feuding with teams like Demolition and the Bolsheviks straight away. Later on in the WWF, he had a singles run, but it was nothing. I wouldn't say it was anything noticeable. No. He was sort of a good mid-card wrestler that had helped put people over, but he was a solid worker. I always preferred the look that he had now to the look that he eventually gets later on, but I'm sure we'll talk about that when we get to it.
He looked more...
He looks fiercer. He looks like one of the Road Warriors.
Yeah, he really did. More angry and intimidating for sure, yeah.
And then Warlord was a record holder. He had the shortest time in the Royal Rumble. That was in 1989, and that was held until 2009 by Santino Marella.
Tito.
I was thinking of Tito.
You were
SummerSlam. Yeah, I was wrong. Where he lasted a second. He lasted 2 seconds in the Royal Rumble and then was eliminated by Hulk, and that was held until 2009. So.
Indeed, nice bit of history there.
Nice bit of history. The tag team helped turn Demolition face. So after a long face run with Demolition, in a couple of pay-per-views time, we'll see where Mr. Fuji turns on them and stuff. It was actually quite well done, especially on Mr. Fuji's behalf.
Yes.
Batista describes Warlord as one of his favourite wrestlers ever. Batista. Sorry, what did I say?
Batista.
Like Batman.
I'm pretty sure you've been saying Batista.
Have I?
Yeah.
Maybe I always said Batista.
Batista.
Who knows?
Anyway, Batista.
He says it's one of his favourite wrestlers ever, and he also helped Jericho with food issues when they were travelling together. So, some big names there, yeah.
Really?
For the Warlord, yeah. Yeah, they were travelling together.
Food issues?
Yes, I don't know what that meant. Oh. I didn't know if that meant eating issues or he just gave him some food and some nibbles.
Hello,
it could have been either.
Please, can I have some more? Yes, Y2J. Yes, you may. Or it would have been the Lionheart. The Lionheart Chris Jericho.
Yes, yeah, probably. So Powers of Pain looked great in the ring and the Bolsheviks helped sell it. The Baron, who was the manager of the Powers of Pain, looked like a member of Ghost, the band. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. Not a bad pace of the match, but you can tell it was mainly to sell the Powers of Pain because they were the new guys in the company. The Barbarian headbutt for the win. It was an okay match. It just didn't really mean anything. I think sometimes when you get new guys in, you've just got to put them over, aren't you, and move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have a Brother Love segment. So this is the first time that we've seen Brother Love in the WWF ring.
Indeed it is. Yeah. Indeed it is.
I love you.
Yeah, man. I'm not really a great fan of this character, but he's done well for himself. Bruce Pritchard is Brother Love, and this was his first event. Obviously, he interviews Hacksaw.
First pay-per-view, because he did interview...
First pay-per-view event. Basically, he had a decent run. He had lots of decent stuff happen to him over the course of his 22-year run with the company. He had earliest feuds with like Rowdy Roddy Piper over the whole Brother Love and Piper's Pit thing and who had the best segment. Some weird parts of his early career, where Sergeant Slaughter bestows a medal on him for being the greatest American for whatever reason. Has a particular highlight because he is the first person to manage The Undertaker in 1991.
Was he?
And he in the WWE.
Yes, he was actually. You're right. You're right.
He was then called back before major television appearances. He was called Kane the Undertaker.
Yes.
And so that he was managed for that year. Of 1991 until his contract was bought by Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer, legend.
Indeed.
Great manager.
Oh, yes. Sporadic appearances with the WWE from 92 through till 2008, where he would continue hosting the Brother Love show fairly regularly, including a particularly momentous moment where he did an interview with $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase when he introduced in 1995 the Ringmaster to the WWE.
Oh, right.
Of course, the Ringmaster would go on to become Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Give me a whole yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we need to do that with more vigour. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we do it. So in 2001, he was actually an active competitor in the Royal Rumble, eliminated by...
Was he?
Yeah.
In when? 91?
In 2001.
Oh, 2001. That late, right?
Yeah, and he was eliminated by Sergeant Slaughter, oddly enough. Released in 2008 after 22 years with the company. 2010, Bruce Pritchard becomes heavily involved with TNA as VP, Vice President of... I always feel like VP sounds like something weird. But
like an STI?
Well, yeah, I was about to say an STI, but we're trying to keep it clean, oddly enough. So as VP of Talent Relations. And then 2013, he left the company, but then came back. He's just back now with an on-screen role, again as a commentator for TNA. So He's had a good career. He's had a good run. He was training WWE superstars for a little while as well. But yeah, Brother Love makes his PPV It's also something, pay-per-view.
You've really built him up now to be like something amazing.
I'm not even a great fan of his character.
I hated his character, especially then. It was he always annoyed me, especially. I suppose that was his work to do anyway, because he was a heel. But he always annoyed me how slow he talked. I suppose that was the point. There was music playing in the background, soft music, and he was interviewing Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Acting particularly silly.
I've just noticed.
Go on
Anthony's notes, everybody. Around my name, there's a love heart.
Yeah. That's my signal for Dom's going to talk a little bit about brother love.
Is that what that is? Oh,
yeah, man, it's how I keep up with what's going on.
I thought that was a lovely little thing.
No, it wasn't lovely. It was merely for work. Sorry.
I thought you loved me.
Maybe.
Muppet. Anyway, carry on.
Ends up with him running out of the ring, chasing him with his 2x4.
2x4.
What was the story? He was telling Jim Duggan that he didn't have any love in him or something.
Yeah,
some rubbish.
And Jim Duggan has
really slow.
He has loads of love for the USA. USA.
Oh man, do I look a bit like Jim Duggan at the minute with like my bad beard and?
You sort of do, actually. Yeah. What's that? That's something like a bushwhacker.
That's what he used to. No, that's what he used to do, man. I hate sticking my tongue out. Anyway,
why?
I don't know, man. Because I've got a beard and it's not pretty.
It's not pretty. Okay, carry on.
I can taste my lunch.
Oh no!
Oh, that's gravy from Sunday. Really slow, really pointless section. Not needed at pay-per-view, sort of, get rid of it. It's okay for TV, not pay-per-view.
Yep. Next match is
great.
Very great, but also a standout, and still to this day, one of the most celebrated SummerSlam moments in WWE/F history.
Absolutely.
A very short, but very poignant victory for who?
So, Ultimate Warrior,
Indeed.
who was versus Honky Tonk Man with Colonel Jimmy Hart.
Open challenge.
Open challenge, yes. So obviously Brutus would mentioned had been injured, so wasn't going to go to the ring. Honky Tonk Man, I thought I want a massive fan of Honky Tonk Man, but he really sold this. He went in there with so much confidence, which was great because obviously when the Ultimate Warrior's music starts playing, that all completely drops. There was a really nice wait as well where the wouldn't announce his opponent. He says, "Come on, get to the ring." And then as soon as Ultimate Warrior's music hits, that's one of the best moments of Ultimate Warrior's music, and probably one of the best moments of his. I do like his WrestleMania match as well. Yeah, but he wasn't the best worker.
No, but it was very quick, so it didn't need to be. Still in his gear, still in his ring gear. Warrior gives him a slam, hits the Warrior body splash thing.
Now did you notice on the Warrior splash he did it to Honky Tonk's belly instead of Honky Tonk's back?
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah, so I was watching an interview with Honky Tonk Man.
The speed, yeah.
He didn't trust Ultimate Warrior. He didn't respect him enough as a wrestler and was concerned that he'd get hurt by him. So he refused to do it on his back. Instead, he wanted to do it on his front, where he could take the bump and know what was going to come.
Okay,
little bit of a fact for you there. Amazing moment, I think. Although it wasn't a good match. Honky Tonk Man had been Intercontinental champion for over a year. It was is he still the longest? I think it's just the longest reigning Intercontinental. No, I think it is the longest.
Okay. Prove us right or wrong, guys, if you want to comment.
The facts,
face the facts. Like Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm happy with that one.
Dino Bravo with Frenchie versus Don Muraco was next. Now, I was quite excited for this match, as if you remember, shockingly, I chose this as my match of WrestleMania 4.
Yeah.
Same lineup. This wasn't as good as the WrestleMania 4 match for me.
I mean, Don Muraco is, he's a powerful dude. Really, I think he was like the kind of Lex Luger of the time, and the strong kind of the guy that outside of Hogan was considered to be, the powerhouse and the best, the most kind of, I guess, accessible, I would have said, big man.
I think part of my problem with Muraco was his face and his sort of almost like frown, made him look like a heel. So when you've got him in there with Dino Bravo, who could actually potentially, with his sort of fair skin, have been a fit of a babyface, they could have quite easily swapped that around. I know it was a good heel.
Yeah.
It started with a lock-up. There was some nice arm drags, and there were moments of the match that were quite fast for two bigger guys, which was what I really enjoyed about the WrestleMania 4 match. But then it really quickly slowed down into arm locks.
They got tired.
Frenchie had the sign, the USA's not okay.
Yeah.
Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary, he was actually more interesting, I think, than the match.
Yeah, I agree.
Really great. Saying the only reason Ventura was the spotter for Dino was because he was out of town and stuff like that. I mean, it was great on commentary, and we'll see a lot more of him on commentary.
Some nice moments, yeah, absolutely.
Dino wins with a suplex.
Yep.
Yeah, not as good as the WrestleMania match, and Heenan on commentary was probably the best part about the match.
Yep, and also it's
Sadly.
interesting to note that Muraco is referred to as The Rock at this point.
He is, and this was his final WWF pay-per-view, I believe.
Indeed,
as well.
possibly, yes.
Not as sad as Junkyard Dog for you, though, is it?
No, personally not, but yeah, still sad.
Next up, we had a Jesse Ventura interview. Rumour has it that he's accepted money from DiBiase as showing up as a special guest referee in the main event. So there was a whole thing of can Ventura be trusted to make a fair decision or not, which added to the main event. I thought the story was really well told actually the main event.
Really well done, yeah.
So the next match was Demolition with Jimmy Hart and Mr. Fuji versus the Hart Foundation. No entrance for the Hart Foundation, man.
No.
Sad, because they were over at this point.
Oh, massive faces at this point.
They were starting to become faces, I think.
I feel like they were there.
Well, apparently Vince was getting a lot of fan mail, especially for Brett.
We said this last time. I think they were there.
I think they were. I mean, you saw signs in the audience.
Less for Jim, which is unfortunately something that followed his career. I always thought Jim Neidhart was a more solid and better worker than Bret Hart, but of course
I'd agree.
But he was, of course, not the prettiest.
He wasn't the pretty boy.
And of course I think that that played into his the fact that Jim. Wasn't quite as celebrated. I actually believe that Natalia is probably more successful than Natalia.
I hate Natalia.
I believe, but just in terms of championship gold and probably notable success, I would have said Natalia is more.
Than Jim?
Than Jim.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree, and that's sad because Jim was great.
Yeah, I mean Natalia's great too, but Jim was really fantastic. Really good.
And they worked well as a tag team as well. They looked like a great tag team. And you had that sort of technical wrestler that was sold. Yeah. And then you had the power machine that was Jim. And there was some nice moments in this match where he was sort of doing rugby tackles and stuff like that.
And, it was nicely done. I think Demolition, kind of had the power game for them, but of course everyone was rooting for the Hart Foundation, so there was some nice comeback moments, particularly for Brett when he was going for. When they were trying to get the upper hand, there was a nice moment with Fuji's cane where he gets broken, and that was nice for the heels.
Well, I thought there was a moment in the match where Brett spent ages outside the ring, which I didn't really get because he should have been counted out. I don't really understand why he won. It was a weird moment. Anvil, again, the crowd were going wild for him actually tonight. I thought Anvil had a really good showing tonight.
Really solid.
He even did a slingshot over the top rope, which for a big guy, which Jim was, it looked great. Yeah. Really good. And you don't see people doing that sort of thing that big at the minute in WWF. I'd argue you don't even see like Kevin Owens doing it that much, Not a slingshot over the rope.
I think Owens is very much model. I think he certainly takes inspiration. I think because he's Canadian, isn't he? I think he takes inspiration a lot from the Hart Foundation, particularly Jim Neidhart, except for those high-flying manoeuvres that he does very well.
He did, yeah.
So I would draw a lot of comparisons between Owens and Neidhart. But yeah.
So Anvil starts attacking Fuji, so the referee's distracted.
Yeah.
Smash is about to receive a pile driver from Brett, which was one of Brett's better moves in my opinion.
Yes, it was.
Jimmy Hart passes Axe the megaphone and smashes him over the head. Yep. Smash gets the pin.
Yep. Smash. Gets the pin with a smash.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was an okay match with some nice bumps in the corner and stuff like that. It was an okay
solid match. Not the best we've seen from the Hart Foundation, but really good at establishing them as faces.
Yes,
serving to help them establish
and establishing Demolition as a worthy contender for the championships
Indeed.
as well. Oh, not contender, as worthy champions, I suppose. So then we had a great interview with Honky Tonk Man, where he was trashing up the dressing room after his loss to Warrior. He says that he wanted to. The open challenge was for a wrestler, not a warrior.
Yeah, nice.
It was great, really good, really well sold. These two went on to feud back and forth for quite a while. Actually,
Warrior. Like I say, I think it was probably Honky Tonk Man's best run.
Yes,
those feuds, and he made Warrior look good.
It was the right time to pull the trigger on Warrior. Although we've not seen him much in pay-per-views, we've seen already the crowd start to turn towards Warrior. So it was the right time to give that massive pop. Yeah.
Yep.
So next up we have Big Bossman
with
Slick.
Oddly,
here's the new guy. We're gonna turn him into a heel by giving him Slick.
Yeah.
Versus Koko Beware.
He was also brilliant.
I disagree in this match.
But in terms of that gimmick, much like the Junkyard Dog, just silly fun, but also really. I
loved him as a kid.
Really well done. Well done. There's silly and there's cringy, like Heath Slater or Santino Marella.
Yeah.
And then there's silly fun where it's just silly but not over the top. And I believe Junkyard Dog and Koko Beware at this time were two of the best at taking what could have been an atrocious gimmick and running with it and doing very well. So I really like Koko Beware.
Very good.
In general, not necessarily this match.
So just to let you know, Love Hearts on Dom again. This means it's over to Dom to talk about Big Bossman.
All right, Bossman is one of my personal, because it's all about me. No, I'm kidding. My personal favourite heels ever in the WWE. Oddly, his best heel work came in my opinion, in his later career with some proper horrible. When I say horrible, I mean just evil moments. In a WWE Championship feud with the Big Show.
Big Show, yeah.
Like I say, you can do your own research on that because I actually feel quite uncomfortable talking about it because it was potentially over the top even for the Attitude Era. But anyway, so Bossman, this SummerSlam debut. After that, he actually goes on to feud with Hulk Hogan for a little while. He attacks Hogan on the Brother Love show. He goes on to form a particularly dominating tag team with one of your favourites and mine, most underrated, One Man Gang. So he forms
was One Man Gang or was it with Hakeem? Is he Hakeem?
No,
it'll be One Man Gang.
One Man
still.
Gang, with Between Towers. Can you imagine Bossman and Hakeem?
No, I can't. No.
Later
Bossman became a face, didn't he?
Yes, for a bit.
Yeah. I remember him as a face.
In that early.
Yeah, he came in as a heel.
But
had his losses to Hulk Hogan and then became face.
Team with Hogan for a little while. And he also went off to WCW for a really brief time and New Japan after his first run with WWE. Obviously notable points in that early run come in his teams with Hogan and a very brief face run. I don't think he was ever really suited to that face gimmick.
It was in the cartoon era, really, and I remember one match where he was against Nails. Do you remember Nails?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a baton on a pole match or something like that. It's really weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's moments. I think he had a brief Attitude Era face turn, very briefly, where he gets kicked out of the corporate ministry, and he has a very small face run there, which was nice, just because you were so used to it at that point by then seeing him as a heel, and you identify with him as a heel. So he comes back in the early Attitude Era. He's brought back in. He changed his look. He has the black SWAT gear. Looks much more badass, much more tough.
He did, yeah.
He's the McMahon. He was brought in as Vince McMahon's bodyguard at the time, and has a really good run with the Hardcore Championship. One title that I, for one, would love to see return. I'm not entirely sure how they'd work into a storyline.
I agree completely.
I love those matches. They weren't harmless fun, but they were. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So he has a lot of feuds with Al Snow.
I think they'd ruin it nowadays.
Maybe you're right.
They'd just turn it into too silly.
He was really good at playing a heel. He was like Randy Orton levels of heel. He didn't threaten to Cook Al Snow's dog. Like, this is attitude.
Really?
This
Wow,
is
I never
attitude
knew
stuff.
that.
And nearly actually, they nearly do it on screen. Doesn't happen, obviously.
Attitude.
Yeah, attitude. And so, yeah, Bossman was part of some of the most infamous kind of heel antics of that Attitude era. Obviously, he was inducted into the, sadly passed away shortly after his career.
Well, he died in the ring, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, he died in the ring. He got hung by the Undertaker in Hell in a Cell.
But not actually
No,
died.
Yeah, but you can't hang someone and then not die. Man, I hate
He doesn't
that
die.
segment.
He doesn't die. He doesn't
Well, no, of course
die
he
in the
didn't die,
ring.
but it was
didn't
like
make it look like he died in the ring.
You can't hang
No,
someone and make
yeah,
it look like they haven't died in the ring.
No,
he
you can
hangs there with his body like that. What was he doing? Not breathing.
No, he was coughing up. He was. You can't just. I'm going to go back and watch that. He doesn't die in the ring.
He got killed in the ring by the Undertaker.
I don't think that's the thing.
Who do you agree with? Let us know in the comments below, please.
But because it started, I'm sure that was one of the catalysts for his face turn. Anyway, so anyway, yeah. So prove us wrong. Tell us we're wrong, because I don't want to believe that Big Boss Man got hung.
He died in the ring, man. He died in the ring.
He did not die in the ring. He died
like Paul Bearer died a couple of times.
Okay, well, hang on. Let's just bleak it up, shall we? He's actually dead now, right? And he actually died, and he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016.
That's
evil
amazing.
Monster.
And he should be celebrated for a wonderful career.
Indeed.
But somebody decided to hang him in the ring.
Yeah, no, that was a thing.
It was
horrible.
It was called
to
the
watch.
Attitude Era.
Yeah, but he didn't actually storyline die in the ring.
No.
Anyway,
but how do you get away with hanging someone and them not storyline
the Undertaker.
dying?
The Undertaker gets
Oh,
away
the
with
Undertaker.
everything. It's the Undertaker.
Did
Anyway,
someone who resuscitated him when he come down?
I don't know.
Al Snow give him mouth to mouth with head.
The job squad. The job squad. The job squad is like, someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do the JOB at the PPV, and that's what Al Snow did.
Yeah. So back to the match. We've got Koko Beware versus Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
Koko Beware gets his entrance music with a bird, which is quite rare to see. Normally he'd be the one starting in the ring, actually, at these pay-per-views. Bossman gets the early lead by distraction from Slick. He had a really strong stance in the ring, I think, Bossman. That's what I liked about him, especially at this point. I think that's why he worked as a heel for Hogan, because he looked powerful, even though he was actually just a bigger guy underneath. Bossman versus Bam Bam. Love it. Dominates him in the ring. Lifts Koko up for the 2 count instead of going for the 3. That's not done enough, man. That's a proper heel move. Yeah. So instead of going for the 3 count, he goes, I'm only getting the 2 count, and then carries on to destroy Koko. There was a top rope drop from the Bossman that barely caught Koko. I thought it was a bit of a botch, actually. I thought Koko was a bit weak in this. I noticed a couple of botches from him, I think.
Yeah. Bossman actually does that move. He does it a few times in his career, and he usually does it okay. But it's an unusual move for him.
I think Koko there was a few moments that he just looked off his game tonight.
Yeah.
Koko was in the corner. Bossman runs to attack, but hangs himself on the rope. Koko gave a really stiff-looking dropkick from the top rope. This was like the only stiff moment of the night from Koko.
Some really bleak stuff, It hangs himself from the top rope, stiff.
Bossman's first match is surrounded by death.
We're just, it's a precursor to the horrible storylines we have to deal with later. Anyway, carry on.
So it gives him but you can see Bossman's head go back. That wasn't meant to be that stiff. Bossman Slam ends the match, easy 3 count.
I love that move too.
Yeah, great finisher.
And right up until he continued to use it in his later career. Really strong. I loved it.
And then he gets his handcuffs and nightstick out, continues to beat Koko. He's the ultimate heel. I think what I'd say about this match is it was a shame it was with Koko. I don't mind Koko.
Who would you rather it have been?
Oh, good question. Not rude. Jake the Snake.
Nice. But then you'd have had Bossman. What do you do? You have to have Bossman win the match. You have to have him win the match.
Yes, and I still would have had him win the match.
But, yeah.
Well, that's the way you get a heel over. But put him... My problem isn't Koko Beware. My problem is, on this night, he just fell a bit flat, I think. Yeah. And what it did is, instead of selling Bossman as a really strong competitor, it just sort of made it meh. It didn't really matter. I think Jake the Snake... I'm trying to think of another good top face. Ultimate Warrior was too busy. Macho was too busy. Other top faces. Bam Bam maybe. Bam Bam.
At the time, maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. Interesting. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. Who would you have liked to have seen other than Koko Beware in this Bossman's introduction to the WWF/E, whatever you want to call it? Who would you have liked to have seen rather than Koko?
Let us know. So next up we had the first ever promo that we've seen on the pay-per-view by the Ultimate Warrior. I think he might have had a very brief one in the Royal Rumble, but this is going on the spaceships to parts unknown.
How was that dude not high? Was he high?
He must have been high.
No. Like I'm pretty sure he came up with them all and he wasn't under the influence of any drugs. But...
What? The Beatles weren't under the influence of any drugs, though. Apparently.
Okay. Just I love his promos, but like,
yeah, it was good. So it made no sense
so
sometimes.
silly, but he never made any sense.
That's all right.
I'm pretty sure it was just unscripted, wasn't it? Yeah, but maybe that's the problem with Bray Wyatt, because I know he scripts all his own stuff. Maybe if the
does he script his own stuff, or do they push him sometimes?
Well, they maybe have some influence on it, but you'd think that maybe with some help it may be stronger, but then also maybe the Warrior would have weakened the character.
I think it would have weakened the character. I think the reason the Warrior
was scripted. Do you think that was scripted? The stuff he said. Do you think it was scripted?
No, I think it was possibly.
No, we should find out.
We should find out.
Well, there you go. Somebody else find out, because we're too lazy to do it ourselves. Who scripted? Did anyone script the Ultimate Warrior? This is a simple Google. Somebody Google it. Somebody Google it for us and tell us that we're wrong and terrible.
I thought it was. I thought it was great. A good promo. I thought it was a good promo. I think if you'd scripted it, then he wouldn't have had the same energy, and it was that energy that carried the character.
Yes,
very much so, because it certainly wasn't his wrestling ability.
No, it was not. Nope.
Next match.
Oh yeah.
Jake the Snake versus Hercules Hernandez, and this
Hercules.
I think this is why I'm saying that it would have been better.
You do what you got to do on this match first, because I'm such a Jake the Snake fan. I'm gonna ruin it and be like, it's my favourite match of the night. So,
oh really?
So just you go on. You do your thing. Do your thing. It's wrong, but do your thing.
I'm gonna say that Hercules had a wonderful body.
He did have a wonderful body,
especially in comparison to Jake. Like, Jake didn't have the figure. I love Jake the Snake, man. I love Jake the Snake. He's great.
He is great.
He didn't look like Hercules.
Well, no one looks like Hercules. Hercules is Hercules. That's the whole point of being Hercules.
Ooh, what are we gonna call you? Hercules.
Hercules. Anyway.
There's a lot of holds and chin locks in the match, which all last way too long for my liking, and same with a lot of the pay-per-view, actually.
Yeah.
Hercules was dragged over the top rope. Even the main part of Jake's comeback in the match is a clothesline ending into a DDT, which was from out of nowhere.
Yeah, I love that. Love that DDT.
I love the DDT. I didn't like it this time. I don't think I like the whole selling the DDT.
The end one was good because obviously he gets one out of nowhere. Yeah, he gets that one out of nowhere. It was all right. You know what I mean? It's
all right. I just thought the match was a bit slow.
He escaped the first one.
Did you enjoy it?
He escaped the first one and then he got the second one. It's a bit like me saying, and unfortunately with this podcast we have to learn to be impartial. It's a bit like my affinity for characters like Bray Wyatt. Anytime Jake gets a wing and anytime Jake is a face, I am like, I wish I was around in that era, because I would have bought all his stuff. I would have bought all his shirts.
Wrestled in Hull once.
Really?
Yeah, I believe it was at Woodford years ago.
Woodford?
And he came with a small indie promotion years ago. It was probably not in his best days, probably when he was struggling with alcohol, but he did come to Hull. I'm pretty sure me and my mate was like, we should go, and we never did because I wanted to wrestle at the time.
There you go.
But there you go.
I will find that out, because
let us know if you went to that, actually. If you're from Hull, that'd be great to know.
Totally, that'd be really good. But yeah, no, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the whole. They wanted Hercules was dominating the match. Doing really well and looked really good. You're right. He looked really good. Hercules looked strong even in defeat, I think.
Yeah, I just didn't. I don't think it was. Yeah,
I like the reversal. I like the underdog temperament of the match where Jake reverses into the DDT, and the DDT is so strong that even Jake can flail around for a bit and do the selling of the fact he's been beaten up.
But wouldn't you have liked to have seen Bossman beat him up a lot more, and then Jake go for the win? And
Anthony.
Sorry.
Anthony.
Wouldn't you prefer to have seen him against Bossman?
Yes, and I would have.
I would have.
Yeah, I would have preferred.
Even if Bossman won. First showing for Bossman. If not, you kill the character.
That's it, exactly. You can't. You wouldn't do it. I would not pick Jake the Snake in that match.
Okay.
Just because, So I, as a Jake the Snake mega fan, I am happy that he won the match, and I would have put it as the one I was the most engrossed in. But on an impartial stance, obviously, the next match is particularly great for WWF/E history. But yeah, in terms of my own interest, this one certainly piqued my interest.
It piqued your interest. Jake Snake piqued your interest.
Jake's
Excellent.
Snake.
End of the match ended up with Hercules having Damien thrown over him.
Didn't sell it very well.
No, he didn't sell it very well. But I thought it was quite a nice reference, because normally he'd have the chains around his neck. So I quite like that.
Yeah.
From a artistic standpoint.
Yes, indeed, a creative, artistic standpoint. Indeed. Okie dokie.
Pickety pokey.
Oakley dokely. Quite. What's the next match? Trying to be really posh. Indeed.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, old chap.
Great start.
Great start to the Mega Powers.
Yes, Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks is next.
How clever. How clever is that?
Very clever. Very clever. Nice. I thought there was a really nice build-up to this match. I thought the match was built up really nicely throughout the night. And then we go into a nice video package as well. So in the video package, we see it's Mega Powers versus Mega Bucks, obviously. There was a 3-on-1 attack against Macho Man. This was when Hulk was off having a child. He'd left the WWF slightly after WrestleMania, only for a break, but he went to look after his new daughter, Brooke, who had just been born, and he was also filming. Was it No Holds Barred,
which was actually, most people would say me this terrible. I loved Hulk Hogan's movies as a kid.
Yeah, did you like No Holds Barred?
I did.
No,
I liked them all.
No.
What was that?
What, against Zeus?
Yeah.
No.
I loved it.
No. Okay.
I loved it, mate.
Awesome. So yeah, that's why he was away at this point. So Macho's on his own getting attacked. Virgil was holding back Elizabeth. What a cowardly man. Jesse Ventura was announced as a special guest referee.
I just had to touch Virgil because he's probably watching us right now.
Probably, if he's
we
paid
tweeted him, guys, and he's not responded yet. It's probably because he's too busy signing. He's too busy trying to get people to
get in a photo with
it. Take his autographs in subway stations.
We should get a life-size Virgil behind us.
Oh my god,
it's happening.
That's what we're doing. Whole year, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that. Research. We're gonna make that happen.
Jesse Ventura was announced as a special guest referee as Ted DiBiase and Andre laugh, thinking that they can buy him. We see a little bit of a moment where Ted DiBiase is slipping dollar bills into his jacket.
Nicely done. He sells it.
It put that uncertainty.
Yeah, Ventura.
Is Ventura going to turn against them in the match or not? And that works cool, man. I like that. I like a little bit of that during the match, before the match. Jesse the Body was interviewed by Brother Love whilst DiBiase was putting the money in the match. Andre was in his face, so there was a big speculation that Ventura was going to screw over Hogan and Macho Man, and that's So Mega Powers versus Mega Bucks, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage with Elizabeth versus Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase with Virgil and Bobby Heenan.
Indeed.
Massive shout out first of all to a Facebook group which is Macho Man the Greatest of all time, I think it is. Search for Macho Man on Facebook. A really great group led by a woman called Susan who posts some wicked stuff on there, man. Like from Macho Man's baseball days.
Nice.
Like signed balls and stuff. That really incredible stuff.
How'd you find that?
I was researching Macho Man on Facebook,
cool.
and I went on that site. I do want to confirm that that's what it's called, but I'll do that in a minute. Multitasking. Jesse comes out to a mixed reaction, so he was getting a lot of cheers most of the rest of the time, and obviously this is the first time that he gets a little bit of a mixed reaction from the crowd. What do you think about that?
I think we should confirm this later, because
Macho Man Randy Savage, the greatest.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. It's done.
Yeah, it's done.
Are you done?
I'm done. I'm multitasking.
Are you done on your phone?
I'm done on my phone. I'm not playing a game
during our podcast.
So he comes out to a misreaction.
You muppet.
Sorry. Okay. And I thought then the Mega Powers come out and they looked the bomb in the red and yellow. They come out to Pomp and Circumstancer. I was expecting them to come out with I'm the Real American. But actually, it worked better because they used that as a celebration, which was fine. And it also put a bit more emphasis on Savage as being the champion, which I was quite happy to see. Hogan taking a little bit of a backseat for once.
Never happens ever.
Never happens. So Jesse stamps his authority at the start of the match, tells all the managers have got to go out, and then he started changing the tag rope for whatever reason, but it was all about him having authority in the match. It was okay. Okay. Macho starts in the ring. Lots of storytelling being sold in this match. I think that's what makes it good. There was a hell of a lot of storytelling, and so it was a good start, even though it was a slow start. Macho Man looks like the real talent in the ring. Ted DiBiase did a great job.
He is the real talent in the ring. Apart
he was.
DiBiase.
DiBiase was great as well.
In that match, obviously, Macho Man comes top, then DiBiase, and then Hogan, then Andre. But to be honest, Hogan, I'm sorry, but he's one of the weakest performers to be as successful as he is in WWE history.
It was a great charisma.
The character was what did it for him.
But
Macho Man put some serious work in throughout his career and this match.
He did.
And this match.
Hogan was caught by Andre in the corner. That's how Ted DiBiase gets to the upper hand. So obviously the heels always do a little bit of cheating to get the upper hand on two of the biggest baby faces on the roster. The addition of Jesse, I thought, made things interesting in the match, as he keeps getting distracted by the faces and struggling to keep controlling the ring, and I quite like that dynamic. I like Jesse Ventura. It's nice to see him in the ring again. Not fighting, unfortunately, but it was nice to see him in the ring. The double clothesline leads to DiBiase and Hulk both being out. Then we go for the tag, so both laying out on the floor, the hot tag for Macho, and the crowd went mental when Macho come back in. One of my problems with Andre in this match is he was obviously not very well at the time. He didn't sell much of Macho and Hogan. Anytime Andre was in the ring, it was mainly about his offensive. And it was Ted DiBiase that was doing all the work on the sides of the heels, to be honest with you. And I would have liked to have seen more of Andre versus Macho Man. Yes. And I think Macho could have carried that as well.
Yes, and he would have flown all over the, as in he would have been thrown all over the ring. He would have allowed Andre to look strong.
Yes.
It was great. Macho Man was great at selling. Macho Man was great. Much like a younger Triple H. Macho Man used to be really good at selling. For all that's said about Triple H's control freak-ish natures, which may or may not be true with regards to his behind-the-scenes antics in the ring, he's very good. He was especially in his younger days, very good at selling big, powerful men. And Macho Man very much at this time. Although there wasn't that many times where he was faced with, Macho Man and Andre. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, it would have been great. And this was an opportunity to see that.
I guess I
think was a bit late in Andre's career.
Yeah, I guess the biggest guy, and this is probably wrong, but certainly, so do check me. But Warrior is probably would be my immediate thought for the biggest. In terms of the strongest guy Macho Man had to face at that time. I can't remember.
There was others. Big Bossman's just come in.
Yeah,
so you've got that.
I'm talking like a giant of a man though. There was never a. You know how you get like
Earthquake.
Maybe Earthquake. Maybe Earthquake. Maybe Earthquake. Okay, yeah.
I liked Earthquake.
Earthquake was great. I loved his finisher. Anyway,
so Macho even at one point in the match went for the elbow on Andre, which again would have been great to have seen, but Andre countered it with a big boot to the face, which actually looked quite brutal. So both Macho and Hogan end up on the outside of the ring for the count out. Then Elizabeth gets on the apron and starts strutting her stuff. Everyone's a bit confused as to what's going on. Hogan and Macho are completely dead, out of the ring.
Yeah, Virgil and and
Bobby Heenan,
thank you, on the ring as well. Like just looking really confused. It's actually a weird moment. Like no one, it doesn't.
It's a bit of a weird moment.
It looks like everyone, like they all obviously know, or they may know what's happening, and they're just like they're looking at Elizabeth, and Elizabeth's looking at them, and I'm pretty sure it's the first time Elizabeth had done anything like this. So maybe that contributes to it.
Yeah, maybe she needed a few more whiskies. To do
maybe
it a bit quicker.
But
But then Elizabeth rips off her skirt.
Indeed, and it's indeed a great moment. A great moment for everyone.
We loved it, didn't we?
What a great moment for
We
everyone.
loved it.
Well, respectfully, Miss Elizabeth
She was
is
beautiful, man.
Quite the stunner. Quite the stunner. Anyway.
She was goddamn gorgeous.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was. But in terms of like a storyline thing, it was something unexpected from Elizabeth, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's what made it really work.
Yeah, because it was massive. It was going to be a massive victory for them.
Everyone sold it in the ring. Yeah. Everyone. Jesse's face was brilliant, much like our faces. Yeah, really good. Really enjoyed it. Fine. Normally that type of thing would be silly. I really enjoyed it as a difference to what we normally get. And I enjoyed seeing Elizabeth's buttocks.
Indeed. Indeed.
So next up, we had the elbow drop on DiBiase because he's distracted, then the Hulk leg drop, then the pin. And we have our winners. Indeed. And we get the Real American song playing with them going for the poses.
Which is nice. And
one of the little things after the celebrating.
Yeah, the best moment of the entire match, in my opinion, even with all the action, is the telling sign of Elizabeth going to Hogan first.
Yeah, great.
And then the initial, which you would have to work really hard to notice because you're lost in the euphoria. If you're a proper wrestling fan, you're lost in the euphoria of the win. But there was a brief moment where Macho Man goes.
Yeah,
and it looks like he's waiting for a hug, but if you watch his face, he has a couple of seconds of selling it where he's like, and then
really great,
and then he carries on, and this right here, is the very because they team for a while afterwards.
I'm guessing they're in Survivor Series
before disbanding because Savage is jealous of Hogan's relationship with Elizabeth. Hogan, to be fair, is he plays up to the overly friendly dude, and that's
but the nice thing about this is it's so subtle. It's such a subtle little moment, and Macho does wonderful at that. It's not because that could have been so over the top, and especially with Hogan, how over the top. I think Hogan was just enjoying the fact that he was. People were cheering him, but it was so well done.
Yeah, you know how you can. It's funny, isn't it? You can trace, similar copies of different superstars. You got John Cena replacing Hogan, very much the same type of character, although Cena's a better worker. You've got Roman Reigns as The Rock. You know what I mean? Yeah. You've got Dean Ambrose as Stone Cold. But I don't.
Or Mick Foley.
But you see, I don't really feel like there's anyone that's equalled. Maybe a Bobby Roode. Perhaps it's to come. I don't think in this era. And I'd like this to be an opinion piece. I'd like you to. Do you think there's anyone that equals or has a similar? Maybe CM Punk was the closest I can think.
Yeah, and CM Punk
in
was
current
massive.
WWE, CM Punk I would have said was the closest to Macho Man. He even adopted the elbow in his later career. But now,
it's them moments in the ring that are incredible.
Right now in the WWE, you've got a definite Hogan-esque character. You've got a definite Rock-esque character. You've got a definite Stone Cold-esque character. All these legends, a Mick Foley kind of character. You've got all these legends, like you say. But who's the guy? Who's the guy right now that is as good and has the similar, similar flair to Macho Man?
Easy.
I've already called Bobby Roode.
No, not Bobby Roode. AJ Styles.
In
terms of
interesting,
and both in popularity and work, he's incredible.
Interesting. You're right. Yeah, I can have that. Yeah. I can have that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, but that's the only person I can think of.
I'm going to go in terms of charisma. Because I'm thinking, yeah, maybe that work ethic. I'm talking charisma. I'm thinking like a
charisma. I don't know if
Bobby
AJ
Roode.
Styles.
Maybe Bobby Roode. You see, that's the thing. Yeah, I want to say AJ Styles because that's a logical.
I think Bobby Roode's a little too obvious sometimes.
But I'm talking like CM Punk, especially in his heel moments. He had that Macho Man-esque vibe. And there's, I don't think, yeah, like I say, I would have said the closest. You're right. I think the closest right now, maybe I was going to say Dolph Ziggler, but Dolph doesn't come. Dolph doesn't come close. No, you're right. You're right. I want to be. I wish I wish he was that big, and I wish he was elevated to that status because I think he's incredible as a performer. But yeah, in terms of charisma, we've established in terms of workhorse that AJ Styles or Bobby Roode is similar, but in terms of charisma, who is equal to the Macho Man in 2017?
Thanks for joining us. It's been an awesome episode.
Indeed.
Thank you, Dom. I'm just going to pick my nose and shake your hand.
I say, I'll shake your hand. I don't care. I'm an honourable man.
All right, dude.
All right.
Well, thanks very much for watching us. Join us on Twitter.
Indeed, Twitter.
Join us on Facebook.
Give me a whole yeah. / give me a whole yeah.
Join us on Patreon.
Give me a whole yeah.
Give me a whole yeah.
These are all actually just give me a whole yeah in the URLs, not just because we want to say our slogan, but yeah, just give me a whole yeah. Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and now, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Give me a hug! Keep it gay.